Hi everyone, welcome to the Essex Sport Facebook page. My name's Arlene. We'll have a 30-minute yoga session today. Just make sure that you've got a yoga mat, your space is nice and clear so you can move your arms and your legs around comfortably, and that your floor is nice and stable so it's not slippery. And you might like to have some water nearby, and you're welcome to grab some cushions or blankets if you'd like to use those for when we lay back. Okay, great. So we'll start the session laying on our back, just coming to a comfortable position, and just know you can rest at any time and just do the movements that feel comfortable for you. Okay, so we'll just come to lay back for a moment. Just check in. You can have knees bent or legs straight. Just notice where your arms are comfortable. Just make little adjustments so you feel as comfortable as possible in this movement. Good, and we'll just take a moment to notice our breath in its natural state. So just notice the sensation of breathing, the air entering through your nose. You can feel the parts of your body that move with your inhalation. And when you exhale, just notice the space behind you so you can begin to soften and relax into the mat. And with each breath, perhaps a feeling of calm enters and it spreads throughout your body. And with each exhalation, you can let go and relax. So you can feel the flow of your breath like a cycle. As you inhale, you bring in fresh perspective, renewal. And as you exhale, there's a release of that breath. So you let go, almost like the rise and fall of the seasons. You can feel your inhalation drawing in calm waves, and your exhalation, the chance to let go and relax into that space behind you. So we'll continue to connect with our breath throughout the practice, and just notice your breath as a sensation or an influencer on the rest of your body, allowing your heart rate to relax, your arms and your legs, and just notice if you feel any tension anywhere in your body. That with your exhalation you can let it go. So observe and scan any sensations of tension, maybe in your legs or your shoulders or your arms. And with each exhalation, just releasing and letting go. Good, and when you're ready, just very slowly begin to reconnect with your body. You can move your fingers perhaps, or your toes, or turn your head side to side. So just any little movements to reconnect and awaken. And when you're ready, just very slowly begin to bend your knees and place the soles of your feet on the floor. And just notice how that feels on your lower back. And you can start to lift your heels off the floor and just observe any very subtle changes in the tailbone area or your hips. And with your heels lifted, just start to do a little pelvic tilt. So as you inhale, you might draw your navel inward and your lower back starts to relax towards the ground. And then as you exhale, it's a very subtle movement. You can feel your stomach rise up towards the ceiling, and almost like your tailbone tips down towards the mat, so you can feel a little rounding coming away from the ground. So just do that twice more. So drawing your navel inward, lower back relaxing, and then feeling your stomach rise up and tailbone relaxing down to create that rounding in your lower back. So once more, drawing your navel inward, perhaps with your inhalation, and exhaling, belly rising. Good, and then we'll come to just relax through your shoulders, the back of your neck, have your heels soften into the mat, and just slowly start to bring your arms up overhead. You can do that with your inhalation if that's comfortable. And then as you start to relax your arms to that space behind you, so you can rest your arms, just notice for a moment how that feels. You might bend your elbows to open your arms wider if that's more comfortable on the shoulders. Just make it fit you, and just observe perhaps the breath here in your upper chest, and your rib cage can expand to the side as we move the arms, or as you've moved your arms out overhead. Good, and then as you exhale, bring just one leg towards your chest. So I'm lifting my right foot off the floor and holding my shin. You can hold your thigh as well, see where that's comfortable. But just observe that you can relax through the space behind you. So you relax hips, feet, shoulders, neck, jaw, your face relaxed. And we'll bring a little circling now. So you can hold your thigh or your knee or your shin, wherever that's comfortable, and just start to make a little rotation out to the side. And we'll reverse and just circle in the other direction. And just notice how that feels. So your relationship with the ground, perhaps there's a little bit of sensation on your lower back or your hip where it connects as you move here, rotating your thigh in the hip socket. Good, and then we'll relax our foot to the floor and just notice how there might be any differences right side to left. And then we'll do the other side, so lifting the other foot off the floor. So I'm lifting my left foot, hold your shin or thigh, relax your hips evenly. So just check in to make your body feel aligned, in alignment, and then we'll start to bring that rotation again. Just support your leg wherever that's comfortable. A couple circles in one direction and then reversing and going the other direction with that rotation of your thigh in the hip socket. And just notice if there's any release or movement in your lower back perhaps, or your hips, and just relaxing through your upper body into the mat. Good. And then we'll bring both of our feet away from the floor to hold shins or thighs and just see how that feels. You might start to bring your forehead up towards your knees if that's comfortable. You can start to bring a little rocking to this if that feels nice. You can even draw circles on the ceiling in either direction. So just explore a few movements or rocking that might feel nice for your body. Good, and then when you're ready, you can either roll to one side or rock up from here. Good, and we'll come to all fours on hands and knees. Good, so as you come to all fours on hands and knees, just start to relax your shoulder blades down your back. Hands are about the width of your shoulders, knees about the width of your hips, and your wrists are under your shoulders here as well as your knees, under your hips, okay? And we'll start to just feel a little cat and cow start to rise. And you might start to feel this movement coordinate with your breath if that's comfortable. So as you inhale, stomach relaxes, as your chest comes forward, and as you exhale, perhaps rounding your spine for cat. And just notice how there's a lengthening with your cow. When you inhale and your belly comes forward, the front body lengthens. When you exhale, the rounding of your spine, it feels almost like there's more length or space in the back of your body. And as you do this, just do it at your own pace, no rush. You might feel with the lengthening of the front body, there's kind of a shortening of the back. So do that opposition again. And as you exhale, rounding your spine, so there's more length. There's a small contraction or shortening of your front body. We'll do 2 more rounds of cat and cow. You can just notice how that feels. You can relax your hands and your knees into the mat to feel support and let go of tension. Good. So we'll come down to a neutral spine here and just softening. Come to child's pose. So slowly bring bottom to your heels. You can start to slide your hands forward if that's comfortable. You can adjust the space between your hands to make it feel appropriate for your shoulders. And you might rest your forehead on the ground, or you can use a pillow or block here. See what feels comfortable. And just start to feel where you touch the ground. And as you relax through those touching points, it might allow the back body, the part away from the floor, to soften and relax. So maybe there's a release through your lower back, your hips. Good. Then we'll stay in this position, but just lift your forehead and walk your hands over to one side. So just stay there if that's comfortable. Little side bend in child's pose. You can rest your forehead if that feels appropriate or with support. And you might even explore lifting your hands so you're just on the fingertips, and that kind of creates more length. And you can even start to walk your left hand away from you. For example, if you've gone to the right as I have, you can reach your left arm away, or vice versa if you've gone to the other side. Good. And just notice how that creates a release along the side of your body. So if you've done the side bend to the right, you might feel that release along the left hip and rib cage, your shoulder, the side of your neck, all the way up to your little finger. Good, then we'll lift forehead, walk hands through center, and just do the same to the other side. So a little side bend, any support for your head. Explore how much space you like between your hands, and maybe you have that lift up of your wrists, so you're just on your fingertips, but do what feels right for you. And notice if you'd like to reach your arms a bit further away, how that helps to relax the whole side body from your hip all the way up your rib cage to your arm. Good, and maybe even you might feel that on your lower back as well. Good, then we'll lift our forehead, walk hands through center. Good, and slowly come back up to all fours on hands and knees. Okay, so we'll tuck our toes under, just preparing for downward facing dog. Soften your bottom to your heels, your toes are tucked under, relax your shoulders, and imagine your hands are in soft clay, so they just start to melt into the ground. And then with lightness, exhale, lift your tailbone up, and just come to your downward facing dog. And so just make this your own. You're welcome to come back to child's pose at any time, so just let it serve you today. If you'd like to bring a little movement to this, you can start to bend one knee at a time.
And you might even start to think again about that lengthening of your side body. So for example, when you bring your right heel down, you might start to kind of soften your heel towards the mat and look underneath your right armpit. So that creates length on your right side, and vice versa. So if you switch and have your left heel to the floor, look under your left armpit, you can feel that almost create length from your left hip all the way up onto underneath your side body, your armpit. So just do that at the pace that feels nice for you. So you might do that slow or faster than I am. So just see what feels nice. And again, you can see if you like to bend your knees a little bit, or you might explore a little flying dog, lifting one leg at a time. And again, child's pose at any time if that feels intense on your shoulders, but hopefully if you hinge back through your hips, that helps to relax tension away or pressure and weight from your hands. Good. So we'll just explore this for another round of breath. And then when you're ready, we'll come to a forward folded position. So just walk your hands to your feet and your feet to your hands. We're going to come back to all fours in a moment. But just come to forward fold and just notice where that's comfortable. Would you like your hands on your legs, long spine, or you might have your fingertips towards the floor. If you want to come into this deeper, just as an option. No pressure. You can bend your elbows and hold on to the opposite forearm and bring your forearms overhead and just lengthen. So wherever you are, just check in. Any tension in your shoulders, you can turn your head side to side, maybe shift the weight so it just feels even throughout your foot, not forward towards your toes or your heels. Good. You can have a bend in your knees as much as feels comfortable, and really slowly start to lengthen your sitting bones upwards away from your feet. Good. Okay, so we'll come back to all fours. If you bend your knees, just gently bring your knees down to the floor, back to all fours, and just check in with how that feels. Notice any differences you might have created in your spine. We'll bring the right foot forward between the hands. Good, and just stay there for a moment, and then start to lift your chest away from the floor. So you can place your hands on your thigh if that's more comfortable. You're welcome to place a cushion underneath your left knee. Good, and just lifting up so shoulders are over hips. Okay, so we'll bring our arms out into a T. Good, so I'm going to turn towards you. I'm not sure if this is mirroring or not. Good, so I've got my right foot forward, arms in a T. And then bring your left hand up. So we're taking a side bend. So your right fingertips towards the floor, left fingertips start to lengthen up. Good, just do that as much as feels comfortable. You're welcome if you have any yoga blocks or a big book nearby, you can place it under your fingers. And just notice how that feels. So as you lift up, perhaps you feel a release here along your side body. Good, notice your neck, let it feel comfortable. And then we'll slowly come back up to our T. Good, and then this time we'll do the same side. So bring your left arm up, but we're just going to change the arms and place your hand behind your neck or your head or between your shoulder blades. And if it's comfortable, hold onto your left elbow with your right hand. We'll take that side bend again. So just same thing, but slightly different. Change in our arms. And it's almost a lengthening up first of your elbow before you take that side bend. Maybe feel a slightly deeper release along the left side of your body. Good, and then we'll slowly come back up. Good, and then just gently come back to all fours. And just notice how that feels. Any differences right side to left. And then we'll do the other side. So your left foot comes forward this time. Good. Just make it comfortable. And when you're ready, chest lifts. You can adjust the placement of your knees so it feels at ease. Arms open out to your T. And we'll come the other direction this time. So your right fingertips lengthen up and your left fingertips are towards the floor. So we'll just come to face you again. Good. Just notice how that feels. You can turn your head wherever it feels nice to gaze. And just start to feel that release, perhaps along the side of your hip. Good. And then we'll come back up. Good. So right arm comes up. Bend your elbow, hands behind your head. And you can hold onto your right elbow with your left hand. You might lift your your right elbow up first, and then start to take that side bend. So we're side bending to the left, and you can feel that release, your right hip. Good, so there's kind of that sense of lengthening on the right side and that contraction on the left. Good. Just notice how that feels. You can breathe into any areas of tension. Just bring softness. Good, and then we'll come back up. And then if you relax your arms back to all fours on hands and knees. And just start to relax your hips side to side. Okay, so we'll do a little side bend here. So come to neutral in all fours, and then bring your hips over to the right side. And then at the same time, look over your right shoulder. So we're kind of creating a C arch in the spine if you were looking from an aerial view. So that lengthens the left rib cage and kind of shortens the right side of the body. Good, and then we'll come back up to the center and just do the other side. So hips over to the left, look over your left shoulder, and just look over your shoulder as much as feels comfortable to help create that space and length along the right rib cage. Good. And we'll come back up. Lovely. And then if you tuck your toes, slowly bring your body back just to create space in your lower body. Good. And then we'll set up for downward facing dog. So as you exhale, hips lift up, upside down V here. Again, you can have stillness with that, lengthening your sitting bones away from you. You might bring movement to that again, at a pace that feels nice. Good. And when you're ready, we'll slowly walk hands to feet or feet to hands. And just come through forward fold for a moment. So relaxing here, you can feel the top of your head soften away from you. Wherever that's comfortable to rest your hands, you can use a yoga brick here, maybe bringing your forearms behind your calf muscles, or bending your elbows and holding the opposite forearm to rest the top of your head away from you. And just notice where this nice softening of the back of your legs to that space behind you, like they're extending to the space behind you. And again, bend your knees as much as feels comfortable today in this moment. Good. When you're ready, a little micro bend. You can release hold of your arms, slowly draw your navel inward. Micro bend of your knees, slowly draw your navel inward, coming up to standing. Good. You can give everything a little shake. We'll practice just a releasing movement. So if you stand with your feet hip width apart, shoulders over your hips, bring your arms up overhead. Inhale, exhale, sit to chair pose. So tailbone leans down, let your arms relax, and just do that again. We'll add one more round. Good. And we'll come out back to our mountain pose. So we'll practice a balance next. So if you stand comfortably with your feet together, might be a little bit of space between your heels. You can come off mat if that creates resistance, or stand near a wall or a chair, something for support. But just start to feel your knees over your hips, or your knees under your hips, and your shoulders over your hips. Good. And your head just lightly atop your spine. So imagine your feet are kind of in soft sand, that like when you make a sandcastle, so they're kind of stuck in place. And you start to draw your heels towards each other, which engages your inner thigh, and maybe that changes your posture a little. And then from here, start to turn the palms of your hands forward. Notice how that feels. It might change the alignment of your body a little bit, or perhaps create more openness in your chest. And if you want more, you can start to rotate through your shoulders to turn the palms of your hands away from you, so your little fingers forward and your thumbs are behind. Good. Just kind of a nice reset for the spine. And then when you're ready, relax your legs, relax your arms, coming to our mountain pose again. Okay, so we'll practice tree pose next. So if you stand on one leg, keep your hips level. You might place your hands on your hips just to check into that. So you're kind of bringing your leg into the center of your body. Good. Bend your other knee and turn it out to the side, sole of your foot, resting on your inner ankle, toes brushing. So we're going to do a little side bend in our tree pose. So just bear that in mind. So you're welcome to lift your foot higher, but just wherever that feels most stable for you. So avoid the knee joint itself. So on calf, on thigh, or near ankle with your toes touching the floor. Okay, so we'll slowly start to bring our arms out into a T. We did that little kind of airplane side bend earlier. So whatever knee is bent, we're going to side bend towards it. Just notice how that feels. So I've got my right knee bent, so I'm leaning towards the right side. So my left arm is lifting up. And again, come out and into this as much as feels comfortable. You can come into it deeper. But you might start to feel that kind of connection from your ankle up the side of your body. And you can start to feel a little release perhaps through your rib cage, through your hip, side of your hip. Good. And then when you're ready, we'll slowly come back up. Good. And then gently relax your arms down and bring your knee forward. Good. And then relax your leg, give everything a little shake. Good. Before we do the other side, we'll do that same kind of movement with our arms to relax our body, our nervous system. So bring your feet hip width apart. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, sit to chair. And again, just twice more at your own pace. Lovely. Okay. And then we'll come back to our mountain pose. Just notice any differences right side to left, how you're holding your body. And then we'll do the other side. So you might place your hands on your hips, weight shifts to the other leg. So I'm going to stand on my right leg this time and bend the other knee out to the side by rotating from the hip socket. Just see on this side, where would you like to place your foot comfortably? Again, bearing in mind, we'll take that little side bend. Good. And when you're ready, so no rush, when that feels stable, you can start to bring your arms up into that T. And stay for a moment before taking that side bend. So we're leaning towards the bent knee in your tree pose. Good. And just really think about the finger that lifts up towards the ceiling, that's kind of lengthening up. So that helps to create that long spine and also the side bend.
So you can feel that release along the hip and the rib cage. Again, it might feel different. Perhaps you come deeper on one side than the other. And just notice that that's the case, not to worry about that too much. But it's natural. Good. So come out at any time. Lovely. So when you're ready, we'll start to think about coming out again. No rush. Just slowly hinging back up. Good. And we can bring our knee forward. Relax your arms down. You can give everything a little shake. And this time to reset, if you stand with your feet a little bit wider than hip distance, and you might have your toes facing forward slightly, and just start to rotate from your waist, and your arms are just relaxed by your side. And you're welcome to look over your shoulder if you want to kind of deepen that rotation. And if you want more from there, you can lift your heel off the floor. So one heel off the floor at a time. So for example, when I rotate to my left, I lift my right heel off the floor. And when I rotate left, my right, no, and vice versa. Okay, lovely. And then when you're ready, just slowly start to come back to a stillness. Good. And then we're going to practice a little variation of Warrior One. So if you stand with your feet about the width of your hips, I'm going to do a side view for this for you. And just valuing that nice long spine. And then step one foot back, but just onto the ball of your foot. Good. And then just check in. We're going to start to bend the front knee. So I'm bending my left knee with my right foot back. And maybe start to feel a little release on the front of your hips. So your hips are evenly facing forward if that's comfortable. We're up on the ball of our foot. And then start to bring your arms up overhead. And just notice how that feels. You might start to gaze upwards a little bit. You're welcome to step your foot further back if you want to come into that deeper. So but just be kind to your spine, your lower back. Good, and just kind of that lifting up sense. Good. Then when you're ready, so we've got our left foot forward. When you're ready, just very slowly start to bend your right elbow and place your hand between your shoulder blades and hold on to your right elbow with your left hand. Good. And then we'll slowly start to take a little side bend again to the left side. And just notice how that feels. Good. Then back up to center. Bring arms overhead. Step your feet together. Good. Just notice any difference right side to left. You're welcome to shake out if you feel any tension. And then we'll do the other side. So your left foot steps comfortably back from a hip width stance onto the ball of your foot. Good. And then you can start to bend your right knee, arms coming overhead. Again, you can create more space between your legs if that's comfortable for you. Hips face forward evenly. Good. And this time, right knee's forward, but we'll bend left elbow. Hold on to your left elbow with your right hand. Start to think about lifting your elbow up first towards the ceiling before side bending over to the right side. And maybe you start to feel a little release here in the front of your hip. Good. One more breath here. Lovely. And when you're ready, slowly come back up. Good, arms up overhead. You might gaze up. Just notice how that feels. A little lifting of your fingers towards the ceiling. It might almost become like a little upper back bend, but with a lift up of your rib cage away from your hips. Then as you exhale, set your feet together. Again, you can give everything a little shake. We'll do one more of those same resets with your feet hip width apart. Inhaling, arms up. Exhale, sit to chair. Let your arms relax down. Do that twice more, just at your own pace. Notice how that might create a bit of space in your lower back. Good. And when you're ready, we'll just start to roll down a little bit halfway, so your hands are just resting on your thighs. And just roll down your spine, so you bring chin to chest, and then roll down so you're halfway, your hands are just touching your knees. Good, and then uncurl your spine, we'll come back up. So stand with your feet about hip width apart. We'll sit to chair pose briefly. So if you bring your arms either overhead, in front of you, or in your hip space, wherever that's comfortable. Exhale, lead with your tailbone, sitting to chair pose. Good. And then start to hinge forward. So again, arms wherever they're comfortable. Just lean forward, so you keep that long spine. At maximum, you'll bring your chest parallel to the floor. So you might have your stomach towards your thighs, but just stop anywhere in that range that feels comfortable. Good. And then relax your arms down. Just let them kind of be soft like a rag doll. And they can rest on your legs or on the floor with your fingertips. And then start to straighten your legs. We're just coming to a long spine, forward folded position. You don't have to straighten your legs all the way, so you might maintain a bend there. Just notice how that feels. So just relaxing forward. Again, leave your hands on your legs towards the floor. If you want to come deeper, you can hold again forearms or bring calves behind, or forearms behind your calves. And you can also turn your head side to side if you feel any tension arise there in your shoulders or your neck or the muscles of your face. Good. One more breath here. And then when you're ready, very slowly, we'll come to bend our knees.
And just come through all fours on hands and knees for a moment. Good. And then come to lay face down on your mat. Your hands either side of your face, so we're just setting up for a Sphinx pose, which might come into cobra. So your forearms are parallel with each other, hands either side of your face. And you can either have your legs about hip width, or you might have them wider if you feel any tension in your lower back. Just see what feels nice. But just start to let go for a moment so you can relax and feel supported by the ground. Good. And then when you're ready, we'll start to inhale and lengthen the top of your head forward. Keep your long spine and neck, so we're looking down at the ground. Lift your chest away from the floor. We're going to stay in this Sphinx pose for a few breaths. So just start to relax your hips, let them feel heavy, your legs feel heavy. You're welcome to come deeper into this if that's comfortable for your body by lengthening your arms. But just come wherever that feels comfortable to stay for a few breaths. But think about the lengthening. So there's a relationship from your tailbone all the way up to the top of your head. There's a shortening of your back body slightly, but you can feel a length and openness in your front. Again, come out of this at any time if you feel any tension arise. But just let your hips feel heavy, arms relax. You might enjoy this more in your Sphinx with your forearms down. Good. Just lift as high as feels comfortable. One more breath here. And then when you're ready, slowly start to lower chest down, just with control, softening your front body into the mat. And then when you're laying face down, we'll bend elbows and then lift your body away from the floor. So through all fours. And we'll come to child's pose, but just check in. So if you feel any tension in your back, or if it just feels nice, you might widen the space between your knees and start to bring your bottom down towards the mat. So just see wherever that's comfortable for you. You can bring your upper body towards the floor, any support that feels nice. And here you can check in again if you like to practice child's pose or extended child's pose with your arms reaching away from you. Maybe your forearms are bent, or you might prefer to have your hands either side of your feet, or even rest your hands on your lower back. Another option is to interlace your fingers, rotate through your shoulders, and start to lengthen your knuckles away from you. So you can even straighten your arms if that feels appropriate. Good. So just wherever that feels nice. Your child's pose, wherever the arms feel good for your body today in this moment. Good. And then when you're ready, very slowly, we'll start to place our hands on the floor under the shoulders, lift up through all fours on hands and knees. And if you come to lay on your back with your knees bent. We practice a little hip tilt at the start, so just setting up against your feet about the width of your hips, hands either side of your hips. We'll just do that tilt of hips again, so draw your navel inward, maybe with your inhalation, tailbone tips up, so your lower back comes towards the floor, and then slowly start to lift your navel up. And just do the breathing pattern that feels right for you, so you might do that one with your inhalation, one movement with your inhalation, the other with your exhalation, or vice versa. So you can play with that a little bit. That little drawing inward of navel, tailbone tipping up, and then bringing your belly upwards and tailbone tipping down, so there's a rounding of your lower back. Okay, so stay with that if that's most comfortable. Option 2, we'll lift up to bridge. So you can use the tilting of your tailbone to lift your hips up, lift as high as feels comfortable. You can imagine your knees are starting to lengthen forward, and just make it comfortable. So you can come down at any time. If you're comfortable staying, you might start to tuck your shoulder blades under, and you can interlace your fingers on the floor below you. Or if you have a yoga brick or something like this, you can place it under your hips to rest, and it's more of a restorative posture. Good, so just notice where that's comfortable. If your hands aren't interlaced below you, you can play with opening your arms out to the side or overhead, so wherever that feels most appropriate. Again, come down at any time, so to avoid tension rising. Good, you can even play with lifting one foot off the floor and then doing the other. Good, or you might lift one foot off the floor and rotate from your thigh to turn your knee out to the side and rest your ankle on the opposite leg. Good, so we'll just play with that for a few moments. You can just make it your own. Come down at any time. Good. Okay, so when you're ready, we'll start to think about coming out. If you've done leg movements, you just do them evenly. And so no rush, but at your own pace. Slowly start to relax each vertebrae down one at a time until your lower back articulates into the mat. And when your hips are fully in contact with the ground, just lift one foot off the floor so you can hold your thigh towards your stomach, hold your shin or the back of your thigh, wherever that's comfortable. You might bring a little rotation to your ankle in either direction. Good. Lovely. So the leg that's bent, flex your foot, lift your leg straight from your hip space, and just lengthen your heel away. So wherever that's comfortable, you can support the back of your leg your hands, or you might hold onto your toes, or if you've got a strap here, you can hold onto that strap around the sole of your foot. Good. And if you want more, you can lift your chest up towards your leg, and if you want more from here, you might straighten the opposite leg onto the ground, so just wherever that feels comfortable for you. Good. And then when you're ready, slowly relax. Knee bends, foot on the floor. Notice how that side of your body feels that you've just activated. And then we'll do the other side. So other foot lifts off the floor. Hold shin or thigh. Draw your thigh towards your stomach. Relax your hips evenly into the ground. Flex your foot. Good, lengthen your heel away. When you're ready, wherever you want to support your leg that's comfortable. Check in if you'd like to straighten the opposite leg, or you might lift your chest up towards your leg. So wherever that feels nice for you today. Good. Another breath here. And then when you're ready, so no rush, we'll bend the knee, both feet on the floor with your knees bent. And just open your arms out to the side. And we'll just start to either sway the knees side to side, kind of like a windshield wiper effect, or you might take a few breaths and relax both knees over to the side for a few moments, to one side, and then swap them together, and just make that comfortable. So you might do that with your feet together on the floor, or you can elevate your feet before you bring your knees over to the side. So just let that serve you for a moment. So if you've held from one side, you might swap and do the other. And just start to feel that release, not only in your lower back and your hips, your rib cage perhaps, or your chest. Good. So just checking in, we've done the knees to the side even amount of times. Good. And then just make any stretch that feels comfortable. So maybe a full body stretch, or you might like a little happy baby pose to massage out your back. Whatever feels nice for you. So a few movements to relax your body. And then we'll take a moment to relax into the mat now. So just make yourself as comfortable as possible. Relax your shoulders, your jaw, your feet. Second, if you'd like to lay with your legs straight or your knees bent. And just notice the flow of your breath in its natural state. Your inhalation, where it enters, the parts of your body that begin to move. And your exhalation. Releasing, letting go, softening into that space behind you, trusting into the earth to support you. So you can feel that renewal of breath, drawing in waves of calm, of health, of openness. And with each exhalation, let go, release anything that doesn't serve you. Just coming to stay for a few moments if you're comfortable in this state of relaxation. And whenever you're ready to come out, so no rush, but at your own pace. You might stay here longer, but just make small movements to your fingers and your toes before you take time to perhaps roll on your side and come back to your body. So thank you. I'll leave you here now to rest longer if desired. Thank you for practicing with me today. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and feel free to check out any of the other videos or we have on Facebook or on the YouTube page.